Yes, here we go again indeed. Another World of Warcraft expansion calls for another review. It is 10th already. It's been 20 years. How the time flies by. I was so different 20 years ago, but so was Warcraft 2. I've been there almost the whole time, excluding era during Mists of Pandaria and Warlords of Draenor. Like many Warcraft players, me and my friend Zachary quit the game in the middle of Cataclysm expansion. Later on, we were not enticed to come back, even after watching cinematic trailers for the newest additions, because we were not interested in neither pandas or alternate universe storytelling. Only when Legion was on the horizon, we got interested again. After that, some expansions and patches were better, some were worse than expected, but at least it was somewhat entertaining to play and follow all the controversies in social media surrounding the game itself and studio behind it. Oh, Blizzard Entertainment, how low have you fallen and when will you rise again? Okay, this time around I'm not going to burden you with my distant memories and nostalgic feelings. Instead, we will focus on the game expansion in question, The War Within. So, right to the chase. The main story is alright, but it didn't knock me off my socks or anything. It tried to make me feel emotionally attached to events and characters presented, but I was simply not. They tried the same thing in Dragonflight and it backfired there, because characters who supposed to be our protagonists but fought against the most powerful enemies were simply soft and weak in demeanor and in what they were saying. That's not what we want from Warcraft at all. We want manly men, feminine women, heroes bigger than life and villains more evil than we could predict. This is what Warcraft was about for so many years. Epic to the core, pure, unadulterated power fantasy of never-ending war, in the world where steel is supported by magic and where the doom clock is always ticking. Nowadays, the main problem with telling a convincing story within the game is that there is simply too many stupid jokes and puns mixed into dialogues, when you're supposed to be fighting for your lives. For the love of all that's good, in past it felt like Lord of the Rings trilogy that you could play with both your friends and total strangers, some of which became your friends along the way. Nowadays it feels like you're playing a modern Marvel movie and you don't even know how you got here in the first place. Another problem seems to be our new allies in form of Erden. The ancient Titan-forged dwarves that were living for millennia in isolation on the island. How many times did we play the newly discovered island record? Bloody hell. The Erden themselves are uninteresting, boring I would even say. Then we got totally unbelievable Arathi faction that lived below the dwarves and were supported by the giant light crystal. Throw me sideways. And even deeper below, we ally ourselves with Nerubians out of all races in Warcraft's history. Now you can just shoot me cause I've seen everything. Yes, I know that some folks will tell me that we allied with some Nerubians and other strange races in the past already, but it was at much lesser extent and I never liked it anyways. Maybe I am an old grumpy man shaking his fist at the sky, and maybe I do not understand modern sensitivities, but help me God, I can tell good world building from a bad one. I'll give them one thing when it comes to storytelling. Xal'atah is an intriguing new devil. Her intentions and reasons are yet unclear, but that is part of a charm. We do not understand yet what drives her other than will to survive and to harness power. But maybe when some of her goals are revealed, we could make something of it. Unless Blizzard's writing team gonna blow it. Time will tell. Another thing that is somewhat improved from previous expansion is that the cutscenes are better in presentation and conveying the story. Still, I would love to see the side quests voice acted, because reading the text inside an online action game is not very enticing. I was happy to read item descriptions in Elden Ring, but not this bullcrap here. Just make it shorter and voice acted and we'll be golden. And there is no excuse that it can't be done, cause in Elder Scrolls Online they managed to do it for all the big and little stories inside the game. The amount of NPC monologues must be at record value, so yes, there is no excuse. Another wasted element is the new zones. They look as good as ever in Warcraft, but they feel more like decorations this time around, because of the ridiculous quests you are doing here and there. The whole immersion is broken and lost to the annoying gameplay. Speaking of which, the core combat gameplay is top-notch as always. Blizzard haven't managed to mess it up yet. It all feels smooth and fun to play, with plenty of interactions between skills. Some people do not like reactionary combat offered in modern WoW, but I really enjoy it when it's not overdone and I can program my UI to set my priority of button presses in mostly clear way. Some combinations of class specializations and hero talents made it more difficult, but I always play what feels more pleasant, so I could pick and choose for the most part. But more on that later. Now I want to talk about the most unpleasant part of gameplay, namely minigame quests. They are annoying as hell and do not bring any fun for me. Like the Connect the Pipes quest that brings to life a mechanical game from my childhood in a way worse form. We used to play it in order to kill some time when we were waiting for more fun activities. There are many other quests that just waste your time, and when I really think about it, the only good quests in Warcraft nowadays are combat ones. Besides, the whole structure is pure nonsense. You can have too many quests at one place, which confuses you what to actually do, cause there will be a zone where you do at the same time several normal quests, repeatable quests, special quests and occasional quests like world quests. This ain't no RPG no more, this is some kind of abomination of a game structure. So what about new content, you may ask? Well, they added delves that can be done in single player or multiplayer mode. They are mostly fine, but really uninteresting and boring in my opinion. Torghast for once was way more interesting and fun, as you could achieve some crazy power spikes for your character as you progress through its levels. This is a wasted opportunity in my opinion, and more frighteningly, it is a part of unsettling trend of making game more flat and boring. On the other hand, development team went in the totally different direction with their newest dungeons. Every one of them now has a gimmick which makes them more annoying than anything else. In best scenarios like Cinebrew, Midori or the Rookery, they are so mild that they do not disturb classical dungeon experience, but in some others, you really wish there was none of that crap. We do not need gimmicks, we need good design and fun gameplay. At least, new armor sets and weapons look good for the most part. So what else is new? Yes, the hero talents. Overall, I am happy with them because they are not only some cosmetic theme change, but they often change the way you play your specialization in some pretty significant ways. The only downside is that some of the hero talents trees lock your choices in the specialization and or class tree. You can always do it your way and play substantially or mildly suboptimal, but then it sits at the back of your mind and you have less fun in the end. All in all, I enjoyed playing around with hero talents and finding my favorite combinations in all specializations that I played. Another good addition is experience gain bonus for every character when you level to the max, up to 5 of your champions. So when leveling your second character your gains are increased by 5%, and when leveling your 6th champion, it reaches its maximum value of 25% more experience gained. This is awesome for people who wanna level up more than one character. Much appreciated change it is. But as always, Blizzard crippled out progression in another way. You cannot go from normal dungeons straight to heroic ones, because of the item level of gear that you gained in former ones is not enough to enter the latter ones. I think they made it that way to promote doing world content and those in between. I am pretty sure of that, cause they even made an entire weekly progression path in Great Vault for those activities. As a compensation reward we get some warband loot, that we can transfer through the warband bank or mail system to our alts and gear progress them a little faster thanks to that. Developers really focused on give and take this time around, but they blew their efforts once again, like in Dragonflight expansion, on designing world events like Theater Troop. In my opinion, they should focus on world bosses and other heavy combat events, and not on things that do not even fit World of Warcraft. I swear that sometimes I feel like they're spitting in my face when I'm playing this game. And for what it's worth, I think that there is just too many weekly quests that reward you heavily in gear and other resources. Once again, I do not think I'll be able to check out all the side quests just because there is not enough time for me to even complete all the most rewarding activities. So that's another blow in the world building and storytelling department in order to keep casual players busy, so they are retained. But in my mind it only pushes us away, cause nowadays I am a casual player myself, and I do not appreciate forcing me into treadmill when I want to hike in the mountains. Begone blue quests! Lastly, when it comes to game systems and avenues, I wanted to talk about PvP. I am so disappointed once again, cause they retain the same crappy system of PvP progression as in Dragonflight. So in order to play it, you're gonna need to get through horrible and painful mid-grinder of being farmed by geared to the teeth players in order to get yourself a basic PvP set, so you can enter ranked system and then get destroyed again until you can farm most powerful PvP gear and then you can compete. Why can't we just scale all gear for PvP so we could enjoy leveled playing field from the get-go? Or we could go the other way around and just delayed gear level restrictions, so it would be pure unadulterated MMORPG PvP massacre from the old days. Anything would be more fun from what we got now. I would just love to get into some rated battlegrounds and test out the new proc from newly acquired raid item, but that is simply impossible in current state of the game. What a shame. Okay, I think I talked enough about the gameplay, so I'm going to briefly mention how the game holds nowadays when it comes to the technical state of it. Visually, it still looks very good from the artistic point of view, but we could use some technological advancements so we could get less noticeable pop-ins and some other minor things like that. Performance-wise, the game works worse than it have in Dragonflight, with little to none visual improvements. It is CPU heavy, so I figure it is all the additional procs from the hero talents and new items that slows it down. Music is as always fantastic, although some intermissions between one musical piece and another are too fast and too crude. Something went wrong here. Still, music is what elevates the whole Warcraft atmosphere, and maybe that's why we come back time after time to experience it once more. When it comes to bugs and glitches, there were two major ones that downgraded the whole experience noticeably. First one was the performance of Auction House at the start of expansion. It was horrendous as you needed to wait very long before items that you asked for loaded, so you could browse them. That was annoying for several days, but then Blizzard solved the issue, so we could enjoy buying and selling once more. The second one was that in the middle of campaign, only the first main quest was showing on the screen. Second and third needed to be marked on the map screen in order to become visible on transparent quest objective tab. Very annoying to say the least. So what do I think about the War Within in summary? Is it any good or bad or mediocre? It's not as simple as that. You see, the whole experience is tiring and kinda boring, to be honest. It's like it was designed by people that don't know how good fun looks like. I swear it must be the case, because the alternative is way worse. It would mean that it was malicious intent to make us all have bad time. All of that because the keyword to the whole thing is fun. It used to be fun and entertaining inside World of Warcraft. It used to be engaging and interesting, epic and heart-lifting. Yes, there are some good moments and fun to be had here, but it is all overwhelmed by bad decisions, questionable design and lack of understanding of what players actually want from this particular game. We want epic quests, amazing adventures, great fun with our friends and total strangers in this multiplayer miracle that it once was. We don't want to be annoyed, we don't want to be talked down to, we don't want unfunny comedy, and we don't want meaningless stories told. We just want a good game that we can play and enjoy ourselves while doing so. To be frank, I lost my hopes for this title to be great again. But still, like a madman, doing the same thing over and over again, I will try it out again after next big patch, with new content and changes, so I can find out if there will be a spark of that lost hope reignited again in some magical way. But until then, I will see you in the next Great Late Review.